Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and it is that time again where I have some more fun stuff from the flea market to show you guys that I recently found. Some people seem to like these videos as far as the flea market finds, so I figured why not do it again. First of all, I was able to snag this very interesting whatever this is. I don't know if it's a coat hanger or what, but it's got two Triceratops and two T-Rex heads on it. It's really goofy looking, and they're not really that great as far as the sculpt goes or anything. And it actually looks like one has, unfortunately, a broken horn, but I felt like the entire thing was just so goofy. I could easily paint over that and match that color, of course, and make it look like it's supposed to have a broken horn. But I felt like the entire thing was just so goofy, I couldn't help it, especially because, again, it was pretty cheap. It was only like $3 or something like that, so definitely cheap enough that I decided to grab it. Then there was a bag with a whole bunch of randomness inside, and to show you that, we're going to bring them in one by one. First of all, there was a tortoise in here, and I don't know who makes this tortoise, but it's actually kind of a decently done tortoise. Like, definitely a nice looking figure. The paint apps aren't the greatest, but they're not terrible. You know, it would be definitely a very cool figure to include in, like, some photography and stuff like that. And, of course, I'm just generally a big fan of turtles and tortoises, so something that I was definitely happy about. There's also a pig in here, and I think the pig is from, yes, it's from Schleich, which we can see right there. And, you know, some Schleich figures sometimes can be a few dollars, so it's nice to get one for dirt cheap. And I think I only paid just a few bucks for this bag, so it wasn't very much. There's also a really weird-looking Ankylosaurus in here. He's got like a weird bump on his head and stuff. I don't know much about this one. I don't know who makes it or anything. I don't think there's a brand on the underside. No, it's a weird figure, that's for sure. Speaking of weird figures, we've also got this, which I also don't even know what species of Ceratopsian they were aiming for with this one, or who makes this either. Definitely haven't seen this one previously, which is always cool. I always love things like flea markets and stuff and yard sales, because you never know what kind of weird dinosaur toy you don't even know exists that you might come across. And this is definitely another one of those instances. And I actually have some more a little bit later here in this video. But here is one that is pretty interesting. I can definitely say with confidence this is a Zuru Toys figure, as we've got one of these weird kind of like slimed up dinosaur figures. This time we have a Triceratops. And what's funny about this one is when I actually first pulled it out of the bag and I was looking at it, I thought it looked so weird. Something was wrong with it. And then I realized whoever actually originally had this assembled it with the head in the spot for the tail and the legs in opposite positions. So it looked like it had the longer legs in the front, the smaller legs in the back. It was just so jumbled and ridiculous. But I do enjoy these figures because they're really fun, very goofy. So I'm pretty happy about that one. And I actually don't have that figure. This one is a pretty cool looking Jurassic Park 3 style Spinosaurus, and I do believe I have some figures that are very similar to this, but I definitely don't have this exact one. Like, I don't even know who the heck makes this one. It's been like, seems like it's one of those sculpts that are like passed around from company to company, as quite a few different companies have this sculpt and use it. I've actually seen and I have articulated versions of this, but this one's pretty cool. It's actually a really hard, solid material too. So it's a more high quality version of that Spino, although I'm surprised he's standing. His legs look a little warped, so he may not make it. There was also a Schleich lion in here, and I'm really starting to get into collecting more modern day animals, so I was really happy to see this one as well, because it allows me to get some of these really nice Schleich animals at a cheaper price, and the Schleich animals are fantastic. And speaking of Schleich, there was also a Schleich Dilophosaurus, and I have so many of this guy at this point. I think I'm finally going to repaint one of these soon, because I really love this figure. I don't know what it is about this one. I've just always been a big fan of this Dilophosaurus, and I think it deserves a repaint. And one of the craziest figures in this entire set, this entire bag, is this weird looking Spinosaurus. It is so old school with the like screaming face that it has. I remember having so many dinosaur toys as a child that had that look, but I don't ever remember seeing this one exactly. It's like a super weird Spinosaurus, so he's really fun, actually. And for some reason, the older I get, the more into older dinosaur toys I get. Like, I'm just becoming more and more interested in all of the toys that I was, you know, a big fan of as a child and then kind of grew away from in favor of more realistic models. But now the older I get, the more I start to like older dinosaur toys a lot more than I used to. And you can see that Spino is already starting to fall. There was also this guy, which is a little baby hippo, but I don't know who makes this one. There's no branding on the underside. I originally thought maybe it was like a AAA figure or something, because it just kind of has that appearance, but I don't think it is. Very cool looking little baby hippo. There's also another of these screaming figures in here, as we've got a Dimetrodon with a little bit of saggy skin in the throat. He's also pretty cool. Definitely not one that I ever had as a child. I've had similar stuff, but not that one exactly. There is also this raptor here, which this one's not really that great. I think this is the same figure that was in the bucket from Terra by Batat, or maybe Adventure Force. I don't remember. One of those buckets had raptors very similar to this. This one has like a button or something on the underside, so I don't know if it was supposed to make noise, but it definitely does not anymore. Then we've got this one, and although there are screw holes, this is an awesome figure made by Kid Galaxy, and I've actually been wanting to get another one of these for quite a while because the sculpt is so nice on this figure, and I really feel like with a nice repaint, this thing could be pretty spectacular. So I'm absolutely going to be repainting that figure at some point soon. And the final one as far as this group, this little bag of figures that I got, is a Schleich Raptor as well, because of course there wasn't enough Schleich in here. We might as well get another one, and I do have a bunch of these guys as well. Not even really a cool figure. It's okay, I guess, for what it is, but it's just one of the most generic Schleich figures I think you'll see. But that was a pretty fun little bag of dinos that I was happy about. And then I also found this one, and this one is crazy cool. This is a very old school Scelidosaurus, and I don't know anything about this, nor have I ever even seen this figure until just recently. This one I was actually really excited about, just because, like I said, I'm getting more into older dinosaur toys, and it's just fun to have such a vintage interpretation of this species. And it definitely is, exactly as I said. You have the species name on the underside. Sometimes they create figures that might look similar but are actually named a different dinosaur. But this one is definitely a Scelidosaurus, and it's a very cool looking version. Again, as far as like that old school style goes, it's really, really neat, and definitely one that I'm happy to have here entering into my collection. I just wish I knew more about it. I tried Googling it and everything, and for some reason really can't come up with much of anything. But as far as the last group of figures that I have here, it looks like it's a whole bunch of figures made by one individual company. I don't really even know what the company is. It does, like, they all have tags, but there's not really a company name. It just says G on it here. And then the other side has a Jurassic Park T-Rex on it. But first of all, we've got a Spinosaurus, and it's not a very good Spino, but he's pretty cool. He's definitely a Jurassic Park 3 style Spino. But these figures remind me so much of the type of like bootleg dinosaurs you see at Walmart from time to time. I think from Adventure Force. No, Boley, that's who it was that created those. But it's a fairly decently sculpted figure, kind of a little goofy looking, specifically in the head, but it's not a bad version of a Spino, I guess. I mean, it's not a great version, but it's not the worst I've ever seen. This guy over here was a good bit worse than him. There is also a T-Rex, and these figures are kind of cool. This one sort of has like a slight resemblance to a Papo T-Rex, but for the most part, I think they're all original as far as the sculpts go. None of them are like screaming any other company's figure, which makes them a little bit cooler to me. And again, they're decent as far as the detail goes. They're that hollow sort of material, and you can see the very obvious seams through the midsection, so they're still cheap. Or at least this one has it. I don't really see it on the Spino, actually. But they're really still cheap figures, but they're kind of cool at the same time. We've got this one, which I would imagine is an Ankylosaurus of some kind, but I don't know exactly what kind. But what's cool is, like, even here you have like this crazy huge spike on the back. It's actually broken, but not like broken, like it's broken as far as the figure goes. They've sculpted it out in a way where it looks broken, so they add really neat little details to the figures. Even another one over here, which I think is really, really cool. And just like with the other one, the detail's pretty impressive. There's a lot of it. It's just a very highly inaccurate version of whatever it was trying to create. I would guess an Ankylosaurus because it has a club tail, but it does look pretty crazy. Then we have a super cool version of a Dilophosaurus, and look at how neat looking he is. That's actually one of the coolest looking Dilophosaurus I think I've seen in quite some time. And again, it's got a good bit of paintwork to it. Still has a bit of an old school style, but at least they didn't give it a frill, so it doesn't have a Jurassic Park look, which is nice. Not something that you often see, especially when it comes to figures like this. But I'm starting to knock other things over, but that Dilophosaurus is really neat. We've also got a Stegosaurus, and again, pretty cool looking. Not great, but not terrible. It's got a nice little curve in the tail, and it obviously has an open mouth, kind of making it look like maybe it's defending itself. These figures, like I said, are pretty nicely detailed. They're okay as far as, well, they're actually really nicely detailed, but they're pretty nicely painted. They're not great as far as the paintwork goes, but again, for what they are, they're not the worst either. And I actually was wrong. I just realized this right now, as there is a definite bootleg in here. This one is very clearly based on the Schleich-Kentrosaurus. So we do have a bootleg. It's obviously drastically increased as far as the size goes, and the tail for some reason looks oddly thick. But so unfortunately, whatever this company is, they do definitely bootleg figures, because this one is absolutely a bootleg, but the rest of them I don't notice from anywhere specifically. I guess maybe the Spino could have been originated from the Papo Spino, but I'm not entirely sure. It does have a similar look, kind of, but definitely a little bit different at the same time. And the final one of this group is a super crazy looking raptor of some kind. I'd imagine a velociraptor. It's got like the Jurassic Park quills here on the back of the head. It also has a little bit of like a quill thing going on in the back of the spinal column, and you can also see even more feathers here moving along the elbow. But again, it's a pretty weird looking figure, that's for sure. I unfortunately, I would like to actually review these ones for you guys, but I have no idea where you can buy them. I just stumbled upon them again at a flea market, and it had like the whole box just sitting there. I don't even know if this is the complete line or if there are more, but you know, if you guys do want to see a review of these guys, let me know, and I can, of course, put that up for you. But that is my haul as far as my flea market finds go this time. Some pretty cool stuff, and again, some stuff that I was excited about enough to show you guys. So let me know in the comment section what you think, and of course, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.